A wonderful good morning to each and everyone. Welcome once again to your fantastic police show, ever educational, ever informative police forum. Let me say a fantastic good morning to everyone who are listening to us both live and in the diaspora. I know we have a team of regular listeners who every single Friday make it a duty to settle down, put all the busy schedule aside and listen to police forum where they um, educate themselves on law enforcement matters, anything that will impact civil safety and security, anything that is going to happen, the traffic management flow of Soufriere or any other major activity. This is the show where you can educate, sensitize, and highlight your concerns and queries, stuff that you may not be happy with as it relates to security within, in and around the tongue of Soufriere and Choiseul. So do not hesitate to post your comments and make your contribution. No question is less important than the other. Every single one is important. We try our best to entertain and answer and provide a response to every single question. Like I said, this show is one of the most educational law enforcement show on this island. I know there are a few others who may want to compete, but this is the show where we deal with a diverse number of topics, not only related to crime, but what contributes, what can be done to reduce crime, how can we develop a crime-free society within and around the communities of Soufriere and Choiseul. I am your host, Inspector Kimoy Rene, who look forward to the continued working relationship with all the stakeholders within our town to make it the pristine, safest community on the island. Let me first start by saying good morning to the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Verngard, and his team of executive officers. Let me say a fantastic good morning to you. And I believe that over the past, Mr. Gard has been doing a fantastic and continues to do a fantastic job at the helm of the RSLPF. We, in recent days, have seen a number of major successful law enforcement operations. And one of those is the recovery of over 18 firearms, and then most recently, the seizure of approximately 196 kilograms of cocaine. All that supported by all the major traffic checks and major law enforcement operations that is conducted almost on a daily basis. The public can say that and can feel the presence of the police, and that is what, effective policing is. The fact that there's this presence where persons feel safer, they know that if they go down the road, they will encounter a law enforcement officer. And it is our duty to try to emulate that in every area in and around St. Lucia, not just Castries or Grosley or Vieux-Fort, but in Soufriere was a library, canneries, ancillary. So let me say good morning to the team, and let me say fantastic job to each and every police officer who contribute to the safety of every single St. Lucian. Let me continue by bringing up my team at Soufriere. Team Soufriere, who continue to do a fantastic job and continue to support my effort at providing safer community for Soufrierians. Let me say good morning to my Sergeant, Sergeant Vincent Mark, to my corporals, Corporal Mabada Octave, Corporal Trisha Fauché, Corporal Alana Shalwi, and Corporal Nigel Isidore. Let me say a fantastic good morning to you. And to my cleaner, let me say a fantastic, Mr. Alsey, let me say a fantastic good morning to you. I know people may not appreciate the work of the cleaner, but I could tell you the cleaner is the one who makes life comfortable for me at my workplace. So I want to pick him up every single day and every opportunity I get for that. Let me say good morning to Team Choiseul with Sergeant Smith at the helm there, holding the fort, and then supported by Sergeant Sonny, Corporal Flavius, Corporal Pascal, Martian Pascal. Let me say good morning to you and keep up the work at Choiseul, albeit it's a quiet community, but your presence is just as important. And I thank you for all the work. Let me say good morning to my team Waterfront, those persons who work in tandem with us, who on a daily basis engage us and provide insight on what can be enhanced, how we could develop it. Let me say good morning to the staff of the SRDF, both Soufriere and those are the different sites, Sulphur Springs. Let me say good morning to Mr. Simon at the Sulphur Spring, and let me congratulate all those who received the awards at the Jimmy. Let me say good morning to the those at Function Lib, conducting business at the Piton Trail, let me say good morning to you. And to my colleagues on the waterfront, Father, let me say good morning, Jessica, Puppy. Keep up the excellent work, keep on the good relationship, and let us try our best to work in collaboration. Let me say good morning to Ruby Soufriere, Team Rubis, Chris Elder, good morning to you. Let me say good morning to the staff at the NIC and Linerville Department. And to the best bank in Soufriere, Bankers and Lucia, let me say good morning to Mistress Martina Donnelly and the team for the working relationship with the Soufriere Police Station. Continuing your excellent work. Let me say good morning to the Choiseul Credit Union and the Fonza Credit Union. Mr. Bob, good morning to you. Let me say good morning to my guys on the block, those who chill out, on the waterfront, the members of the Soufriere Taxi Association, Mr. Didier and his team, Hartman, and all the other guys there. Let me say good morning to you. Good morning to Gramak Zone, who always engage me on so many matters. Let me say good morning to Mr. Riviere and my good buddy Dennis, good morning. And Mr. Gustav, let me say fantastic good morning to you. It is always a pleasure interacting and discussing with you guys on a daily basis. So many of the small businesses in Soufriere, Alice Supermarket, Miss Sandra, so many of the businesses, and I want to say a special shout out to Galba Seafood Shack, who on a Friday provide, this real authentic Soufriere, seafood menu. And today's menu, we have mahi tuna, snapper, portfish, blackfish, fish head broth, grilled lambi, curry lambi, cream sauce lambi, lambi soup, lambi fritters. Guys, placing your order because I could tell you there is high demand, and the local juice also available, and also cold drinks. So drop by Galba's seafood place, seafood shack, and place your order early. Enjoy some fantastic, authentic seafood, because this is, and I want to big up Galba because he has found it fitting that, and has approached, the police forum show and have highlighted how impressed he is with that show. And as a result, he has said, Mr. Rennie, I am happy with the program that you support, that you provide, and the information. And as a result, you and your guests, well, his restaurant has agreed that whenever I have a guest, that lunch is on him. So my guest is here with me today, Mr. St. John, Mr. Nehemiah St. John. I could tell you, Mr. St. John, today lunch is on Galba today. So decide what you're gonna have today. So let me say good morning and let me welcome my guest. Today I have a very fantastic guest, and we have kind of deviated from the usual and try to see, how we could look at what Soufrierians enjoy and how that now contributes to the holistic safety of Soufriere. So with me, I have a very special guest, but no stranger to Soufriere and Soufrierian. The good thing is we are classmates, so we go way back. But I'll let him introduce himself and speak on, who he is and what the topic of our discussion will be today.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody in Radio Land and those on the live stream. I think we are live, right?
Yes, we are live, yes.
So those on the live stream, good morning to you guys. As everybody know, my name is Nehemiah Ace. Most people know me as Ace. I accept the Ace with open arms. I am a sports administrator. And not just one sport, but just about every sport. I have coached every single sport from football to track and fields, netball, just about every single sport in Soufriere. I have coached the senior and junior teams. Even netball, I have coached netball. I have also officiated at the under 16 Jean Pierre netball Caribbean Jean Pierre tournament as well. So we had today. I was very happy when the SP here invited me to be here to speak on the importance of sports for the holistic development of Soufriere and the community of Soufriere. and the impact that sport has in keeping our young people occupied and keeping them involved positively. So that's what we basically we are here to discuss this morning.
Yeah, well, excellent. You said you're a sport administrator, which we agree, but even before that, and I think the name ACE did not just come out of nowhere. I think the name ACE came out because you was not just you are not just a sports administrator, but you were a very active athlete back in your formative year, our school years. When you look at track and field on the 100 meter, 200 meter, I think you were one of the persons in that, football and a number of other sporting areas. So give us a little background on that,
I have. I don't really like to blow my own horn. A lot of kids of this generation does not even know me as a track athlete. Although I am the one who, we had a very active Soufriere Athletics club back in the day.
Yes.
With Francis George, or should I say the great Francis George?
Yes.
Who coached me.
Francis, yes.
Yeah, he coached me, and now we are coaching kids together. So a lot of kids don't even know me as a track athlete. They know me more as a footballer and a football coach than it is that they know me as a track athlete. But I was pretty quick. There was a time in St. Lucia that I was a junior. I was under the age of 20, and no senior could have beat me in a 1 or 200 meters. I represented St. Lucia a couple of times. I raced against people like Obadiah Thompson and Kim Collins and these guys.
Oh,
yeah, I did in Barbados in 1999 for the CAC Games, Central American Caribbean Games. I represented St. Lucia in the 100 meters against people like Kim Collins and Obadiah Thompson and this guy. I remember Obadiah Thompson won that 100 meters. So I am no stranger to sports. I played a lot of different sports. Like I said, people know me more for football,
yes.
But I was a very good track athlete as well.
And that's what I remember. Track, which house were you in? Toussaint. Yeah. Toussaint. That's when Toussaint was Toussaint. But Toussaint nothing now,
It breaks my heart to see the amount of licks Toussaint is taking.
And that was the time of real competitive sports. It's just amazing. There was not the incentive there is now back in your days, but there was passion, there was commitment, there was dedication. Everybody wanted to do something, come sports day, and almost every young man in Soufriere was involved in a particular sport, at that time. So tell us, Mr. Senja, how are sports, really benefited and developed you and, really molded you into who you are today? Because before you continue, I know you were a troublesome boy, that's for sure.
I wouldn't say troublesome because our troublesome back in the day,
yes,
and the troublesome now, that's two different troublesome.
Definitely.
I was extremely active. I would say,
call it active. Full of energy, full of life. Yes.
I will not say troublesome. I will say that I was very active, because the truth is, as troublesome as it looked like I was when we were classmates, I never got suspension.
Yeah.
I never got one suspension in all my years at Super Compre. But I was well known because I was really active.
You were involved. Yes.
Everything, good or bad.
Yep.
When match bombs busted in the back of the school, it's had to be somewhere around it or involved in it. So, I was really involved. The thing about sports is it teaches you self-confidence. I am a very confident person. People call me egotistical, arrogant, just because of my self-confidence. To me, the confidence I have in myself is second to none. Some people might look at that as a bad thing, but I can tell you it has helped me a lot in my life.
Definitely.
It has helped me to propel and do things that I didn't think I would have been able to do. Also, sports is something that helps you with understanding that you have to work with people.
Yes.
You cannot do it by yourself. Even in track and fields where you might be able to run 100 meters by yourself, but surely you are unable to run a 4x100 meters on your own.
Yep.
You understand?
Yep.
So it has helped with a lot of things. Discipline.
Mhm.
I remember if you were not extremely disciplined, I tell you, Francis George used to. Back in the day, Francis George used to take out his whip and beat us, literally. You wouldn't be in the athletics club, bro, and come and
Yeah.
say that you were suspended from school.
Mhm.
You know you would have been in trouble with the coach.
Yep.
So, it helped in so many different ways, even physically.
Mhm.
If I tell people a lot of people that I tell my age,
They don't believe that.
They don't believe me when I tell people my age.
They believe you're still 25. They
which
believe
I-
you're still 25.
Right, which I will not say on the radio. You understand? It keeps you fit, it keeps you healthy, it
Yes.
keeps you
Energized.
energized.
Mhm.
So there are so many benefits from participating in sports. So many benefits. And like you said, the opportunities that are now,
Mhm.
if we had those
Opportunities.
you were very good at cricket.
Oh yes,
back in the
I
day.
mean that would people believe I have no sport, but yes, I
Yes.
used to play cricket once upon a
You were
time.
very good. I remember you being very good. Cricket was not my main sport. I
Was,
played
yeah.
a little cricket, but that was not my main
Mhm.
sport. And I remember you being very good at cricket. The opportunities that are now,
Oh, yes.
if we had some of those opportunities, especially with the fact that and I'll tell you, you said something that shocked me. You said that back in the day there was more passion, and that's qualities. It's like I coach football. I coached Soufriere football team for a very long time. I've been the coach. I was first the captain of the Soufriere team for a very long time. Captain Soufriere to 2 Black Hat finals. Unfortunately, we lost both. Then I went into coaching. I have made several youth finals for coaching Soufriere. I've coached the Soufriere female team to many finals and third place and all of that. I recently coached Soufriere Black Hat team to its very first Black Hat in 2023.
Nice.
We won that Black Hat tournament. And I see it all the time, and I say it all the time.
Mhm.
The passion for the sport is just not
There.
as it was
Mhm.
back in our day.
Back nowadays.
And there's so much more incentive for them.
Mhm.
There's semi-pro football now. There's so much more activity,
Mhm.
opportunities
Yep.
for athletes to actually make a living,
Scholarships go overseas.
make a really good living.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Usain Bolt is a multi-millionaire right
Mhm.
now.
Some of our richest people are
Athletes.
athletes. Definitely.
Darren Sammy is richer than most doctors and lawyers in St. Lucia.
Oh yes, definitely, and continues to make money.
And that's what and
Even
even after his playing
yeah.
time,
Mhm.
he went into coaching.
Yep.
And he continues
Continues
to make money.
You know, the
So
endorsements, everything.
the opportunities is endless. And sports is not just about saying, me, I can't play no sports, so I'm not getting involved. We need administrators as well.
Yep.
We need people who would assist and help and do things behind the scenes.
Scenes.
I think that there's the behind the scenes,
and that is what is
persons
important.
are
Yes.
very important.
That is important.
Very, very
And I heard you speak of back in the days when you were part of the Soufriere Youth and Sports Club being, administered and managed by Mr. Francis. I remember those days because my little sister was part of that, of the Soufriere Youth and Sports Club.
Athletics club.
Athletic club, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And he was selfless in his efforts because he used to pick up my sister all the way Etangs on his bus at no cost and
Sometimes
drop back.
on his car.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
really.
yeah, his little vehicle and pick up and drop off,
Yeah.
and
Jenny and Lisa,
Jenny
were
and
living
Lisa
right
right next to me,
We used to
and
go with him. I used to be there most of the
Yeah.
time, I can tell you.
and those people don't understand the value of that. Now people don't want to do anything for free.
And that's
That-
and you know what's sad about this? People will see you. Let me tell you. Do you know how many times I have taken the Super Athletics Club, Francis and I?
Mhm.
The Athletics Club was dead for like 15 or 20 years or so.
Mhm.
And we revived it. I said I cannot see so
Yeah.
many good athletes we have going to this.
Mhm.
We revived it. Right now, Soufriere might be the most dominant track and field club in St. Lucia right now. We just might be.
Mhm.
We've been participating in all meets. And you know how many times we took kids, Francis driving my bus and I have the Alpha, and we just go to a meet with the kids.
Wow,
And
wow.
transport them home, drop them home with no funds from nobody. And when we get there, you have to provide these kids with a meal.
A meal,
And
yes.
between the two of us, sometimes we patching up money to see how we can, what meals we can buy and what we can give these kids to eat. Thank God right now we don't have to do that because Unchastened and Jade Mountain has adopted the Super Players Club wholly and solely, and they provide the Super Players Club with everything that
Wow,
we need.
let me say hats off to Anshasni
Let me
for
tell
such
you,
a good,
I'm coming to them. I'm
yeah,
coming
definitely.
to them. But people always believe if you volunteer in this situation, you're gaining something.
Yeah.
There's something to gain. You're getting financial help. I have put in more money than I'll ever make into sports. And I say maybe I stopped playing the lotto because I figure out that's why I won't win the lotto, because if I win a lottery, all of that might just go into
yeah.
I started a grassroots football program in Fort a few years back. I was in 2013, 14. Most of these kids are a little older now. I see them playing 14. And I got them interested in football. I caught them playing football. I started a Gilroy Lamontagne has a grassroots program on the field in Soufriere. And I just felt like Fosse Jacques was being left out. The kids there were.
Nice.
And I used to every Saturday drive up, buy stuff, buy balls, buy SLFA used to help me out and give some balls, and I used to provide them with water. Look for sponsorship. At the time it was Mr. Harold Dalsa was the district rep. Contacted him and he reached out and he gave 20, 25 pairs of boots so these kids can now have boots to play. And I remember there being a whole drama about I must be getting paid to leave Soufriere every Saturday, drive up
to Fosse Jacques.
Do that every morning. Sometimes I was out the Friday night and still get up in the morning too. But I wasn't getting paid from anybody. I was not getting a cent to do this. But it was just the fact that I felt like there's too much football talent in Fosse Jacques for us to just let it go. And then, after pressure and back and forth and people thinking, is for me to be that committed, there has to be some money I'm getting from it. I just stopped it. I stopped and I handed it over to people in the community who felt like
there was some gain,
I was gaining something. And it died out. It was almost never revived after that. Which is sad. So people don't volunteer and they believe if you volunteer,
it's something you're gaining.
That you're gaining something.
Yes, something you're gaining.
Which is the sad situation.
Yeah, we have a few persons on the live. Rena Butcher is saying hi, Nehemiah. She's saying good morning, Inspector. Good morning, Rena Butcher. She's saying, wow, great job. Thekla Headley, one of my, most consistent listener, my sister, saying good morning, Inspector, and guess good morning, Thekla. And Eudoxia Gangadin Jules is saying, hi, everyone. We'll definitely check out the authentic seafood restaurant you mentioned when I'm visiting home. She's always on live, and
it's worth every meal. Let me tell you, I eat there every Friday. Wow, now I'm finding out that I'm happy getting a free meal. I'm happy I didn't turn down the invitation there because that's my place to eat every single Friday.
Fantastic. Thekla is saying Francis have been coaching from her days at Compre, and Thekla is not young, that I could tell you for sure. So it just shows you how long Francis have been involved. And Brish from Belize, one of my listeners, all the way from Belize, is saying good morning, Inspector, and keep up the remarkable work. Good morning, Brish. Empress Bobo Jabatis is saying greetings, and Jason Alcendo is saying shout out Ace, blessed morning, Inspector. Good morning to you, Jason. Yes, so Nehemiah, you have said a lot this morning, but we want to get into the core of the matter and why we are here. There was a time Soufriere was almost on the edge of the abyss where there seemed to have been this escalation of violent crime in and around Soufriere, and the persons involved were primarily the young persons, right? The young persons, especially young male. So can you tell us a little about that as it relates to, during your experience, what did you see and what do you believe happened, or what do you believe changed that? Because that is not as bad as it was back then. We are seeing some signs, we are seeing some little indicators which we have to take seriously. And as the inspector, I could tell you, I have seen the indicators. We need to try our best to contain it and prevent the escalation. But tell us your experience, during that time.
The benefits of youth and sports to this community is endless. I can tell you. When we had that escalation in those gun violence, two rival gangs shooting at each other and trying to take out each other. It was a period of time when the field was on the construction and there was not much sport happening. There was almost no sports happening at all. And I always used to say, now that the field is on the construction and a decision has been taken to renovate it, put the artificial turf and all of that in, what alternate options will we give these young people to keep them occupied? Because I can tell you, the minute that they are not occupied, they will find mischief to get into.
They will find something to get them entertained.
I say to the security at the stadium all the time when they come telling me this young person is getting in trouble, this young person, I say to them, let me speak to that young person. Because their thing is, get the police, let's ban them from coming there. But the reality is, if we ban them from coming to that field, we're sending them back on this block.
Yeah.
Back in the little corners and
where they can be influenced.
Where they can easily be influenced or they can be part of the planning to get into it. When the reality is, the more sporting activities there is in Soufriere, the less crime happens. It's a fact. Just look at it. Take a good look, especially football. Especially football. Whenever there is a lot of sporting activities happening in the town, you will see a tremendous decrease in the amount of gun violence. And I'm saying this because this has been proven. When the crime situation was really, really, really bad, I remember saying it to many people, let's figure out how we're going to get some sporting activities running to get these guys to realize that some of them play on the same team, some of them represent the same club or the same community, which is Soufriere. I will always say that Black Hat win in 2023 is closest and most precious to my heart. Not because we brought Soufriere its first Black Hat tournament, but that tournament was the kickoff to dissolving that whole fracas between two gangs. That was what kind of killed almost all of it.
And why you say that? Give us the details, because it's good to go into the background as to what happened.
I was the president of the Soufriere Football League at the time, and our concern was the amount of gun violence that was going on. Most of these gun members are footballers. Most, if not all, are footballers. So we were worried. We actually, I will say we because I was part of it, I actually underestimated the power of sports at that time. And the minute I just said, you know what, we need to get some kind of sports running. We started with, I through Anchester and Jade Mountain, we've had table tennis tournaments, we've had tech ball tournaments, I've organized track and field tournaments. Soufriere basketball team right now is dominating basketball in St. Lucia. I can say I can give Anchester and Jade Mountain all of the praise and glory for this, because as much as these guys were talented, it was clear that they were not preparing for those tournaments before. But guess what we did for the past 2 or 3 years? We did a free-on-free basketball tournament every summer before the national tournament. And we even brought it island-wide, where we would go to VG complex, we would go everywhere and bring that free-on-free tournament where not only players would show their skill and get fit, but they would get an opportunity to win $1,000. The winning free will win $1,000, compliments Manchester Jade Mountain. So, as much as we tried to bring sport, we underestimated the power of having football playing. And when we started the Black Hat training in 2023, early 23, I said, if I'm going to coach the team, I want to start early, get everybody involved, get everybody to understand what we're doing and everything. And I can tell you, the rival gangs that were shooting at each other and taking out each other, there were players from these gangs who played on that same Soufriere Black Hat team and won Soufriere's first Black Hat.
Wow.
And I say that and I get goosebumps every time that I say it. There was one of the players who got shot. The person who shot him and the person that got shot played on that
Same.
Soufriere team together.
And did you witness or experience animosity between them
None.
during? Wow.
As a matter of fact, if somebody from another team would give one of them a tackle, I would have to step in and tell them cool out because they would defend each other like brothers. That's what football did. That's what sports did at that time when the whole community was in panic. And during that period of time,
Yes, so I could recall.
everybody
I was not
was
here
in
yet.
panic
I was not
because-
here, but I could recall
yeah,
what was
because
happening.
it was like these guys didn't care if a stray bullet hit somebody. They don't care if you are passing by. When they come and take, who they come and take, it's just fire.
Yes. And most Soufrierians depend on the tourism industry for their bread.
If the crime rate in Soufriere is bad,
Yes.
everybody suffers.
Everybody,
From
the entire
barbershop to
country.
hair salon to
The entire country.
the hotels, everybody.
Yes.
Affects it. So that 2023 Black Hat Championships will always be close to my heart because I remember there was one player, he was always he was part of the gunfight and he was always in a something and always going down and get a little intoxicated and end up in a fight and everything. And I remember training starting like a month in. And he came to me and he said, "Yes, I want to play that Black Hat thing. I really want to play that Black Hat." I said to him, "Listen, I'm making you a deal. Come and train for the Super Black Hat team under one condition. You don't get involved in any trouble from here until Black Hat ends. Let's start here. And if you can do that, then you remain here. But if I hear you were arrested one time, you go. If I hear you were in a fight in town with some fella, some person, you go. If you are training and you want to fight with your teammates while you are training, you go. And I can tell you, that was my best behaved player all through that tournament. Most committed, he would come to train early, sit there, wait for us, ready to go. Every instruction you give him, he would do it. And that was somebody that people looked at as a troublemaker. And when I gave him that option, I said to him, "Listen, the only way you're going to play that tournament is if you show me that you can show some self-discipline." And he would not even argue with anybody in training. No, he wouldn't even argue with somebody in training, I'm telling you.
You know,
I can remember seeing him drunk like he used to be in town, drinking and misbehaving. I did not see that at all. And he started every game for us, played every game up until the finals. And he might have been my most important player.
yeah, wow. I go back to some of the comments you made earlier, and you said the benefit of sports, right? One of what it instills in us is not just discipline, but the team player mentality. Because as a footballer, you could be the best footballer in the world, and no matter what, if you cannot play with a team, right? If you can't play with your colleagues, you will not shine, or your team will win nothing unless there is that cohesive, collaborative relationship. And even as a police officer, and I say that because the police force, when I joined the police force a few years ago, not too long ago, right? When I joined the force, at the time, academics were important, but it was not as important as the requirement for you to have been actively involved in a sporting or community activity. Those were the core of the recruitment process, recruitment drive. What were you involved in? Because policing is not about me. It's about the collective, right? So a police officer must be able to interact, must have good interpersonal skills, must be able to, de-escalate situations, must have respect, must know that you must be disciplined enough to know that you have to get up early, do your training, do whatever, and head out on the street to provide that safety net for the public. But there has been this deviation from that, and that is what is called so much of the problem. We are so focused on academics. So we have people who have all kind of degrees nowadays. Let me tell you, you have people, recruits coming in with bachelor's and master's degrees, and that is what is being asked for now, right? But then the question is, do they have that interpersonal skill? Do they have that human relation skill? Are they able to interact with people?
That's what sports
Right?
would
And
provide
that's what
you.
sports would do for you. So a lot of people come with all the degrees and they believe that they're supposed to sit down in an office and AC, be on a desk and not patrol and not engage people because they're kind of introverts because they're so focused on academics and not the interpersonal, interrelational skills. And I think that has done such a great disservice to the police and even the police in our community policing efforts. Back then, the police used to be a formidable force when it came to sports.
I will tell you, yeah, because I remember the police having a combined forces football team
Yeah.
who played in the Senosha National
Yes.
Premier League tournament, and they dominated for quite a few years.
Yes, basketball, volleyball, cricket,
You know, and I
yeah.
must say, I've always tried to invite them to participate
Yes.
in stuff. Even as you are here, you can attest to me always reaching out to you to
Yes.
ask.
But it is so difficult now with the caliber of police officers we have to put that thing together and support because everybody believes that, it's about sitting behind a desk and sitting in a vehicle with AC. You patrolling in a vehicle with AC 24/7. What's that? You patrolling. How could you have somebody call you or try to give you some information? So, it's so much more difficult to have police officers because of the recruitment style now, and had we focus a lot of our effort on those persons who are actively involved in sport and community activities, then our police force would be so much better than what it is now.
I must commend you on that one. Sometimes I feel you might not even take my call the amount of times that I call and reach out to you because I always try to get the police involved and you're always willing to assist us, to help us organize, to even sometimes when we have an activity and we need a permit quickly, you say, all right, no problem, because I think you've understood the importance of sport, youth and sports in the community. Because I can tell you, when that young man last got shot and died recently, again,
Yes.
it was a period of time when there was no football being played. There was no football being played for that extended period of time where it was a year, over a year now that we've not had any football. In the last football tournament, when I was the chairperson, I think that was 23 was the last, 2023 was the last actual football tournament. So there was no football being played for. So guess what? The gun and gang violence escalated once more. And I think you've understood that. We've had many meetings, many conversations, and you've understood that. So, every time that I reach out to you, I can say that I need to commend you on the effort that you make in ensuring, even if it's a little, your own presence. I mean, I have reached out to you and you say to me, boy, I am feeling when it comes to officers on the ground, but I will be there. Yeah. And you show up and you come around and you make your presence felt.
Yeah. You see, and again, Nehemiah, for me is the overall picture and the overall benefit. A sporting activity not just only benefit the athletes, right? It benefits the entire community because when you have football tournaments, when we bring black to Soufriere, when we bring basketball tournament, when we have the small goals or whatever you have, the Wulilaba or whatever, the vendors who are from our underprivileged, communities benefit because they are able to sell, they are able to make some money to take care of those same children who, if they are not taken care of, will become our delinquent.
And I'll tell you something. I was at the district education office for a long time as the sports coordinator. And I taught some of the classes in all of the primary school. You see the same vendors who come to provide for their kids and all of that you talk about. The best athletes and best footballers come from those homes. The best sportsmen, a lot of them are not those who come from more privileged homes. They come from they are kids who really and truly cannot afford. That's why we made a vow that no athlete from the Super Athletes Club, no matter their status or where they come from, is going to represent us barefooted anymore.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
We went all out and we got track shoes and we got trainers for them and we did all we can because we know these are the kids who would easily end up being a menace to this society,
Yes.
and give police trouble because they come from a less fortunate home and they just don't care. Now, some of them, I can tell you, they are showing that attitude because they don't receive love at home. They don't receive the attention at home.
And that is why they join the gangs. They join the gangs because they're searching for they're searching for an identity, searching for that acceptance, belonging, acceptance, right? And they want to be part of something, and that is what the gang leaders and gang members profit on. They see their vulnerabilities and they lure them in, whether it's a little bit of money, a little something, lure them in, and then now they begin to influence them. Lacoste bag and something,
And that's what sport provides. And like you say all the time, the more sporting activity we have, the easier the police work becomes. The easier you will make it for the police. I mean, I can tell you, I manage the I manage the sporting venues around Soufriere, and I have a lot of trouble with young
people, and that
not the older ones.
Yes,
the teens going down into even as young as 5, 6. I had a situation where kids were vandalizing the basketball court. When the people around called me, I came there, and I asked them to leave, and then I turned off the lights. Turned on the lights and started vandalizing the bleachers. I worked so hard to get those bleachers on that court because I know people do not want to come and watch 2 hours of basketball standing there. So I begged, and I finally was able to get some bleachers to take to Soufriere so people can come and sit and watch about, and they tried to destroy it. And when I put them on, they started throwing stones at me. Quite a bigger stone, and the neighbors, they don't care what vehicles were there and so on and so on. So sometimes I can tell you I need the police. I need them, and I will
no, and I will tell you, I am not happy with the level of police presence that we have, especially in environments like the court and the playing field, where we have high youth prevalence.
Easily we have in 60, 70 kids on the field.
Yes, and my officers need to understand that hey, we have to schedule our patrols that we know where is the important areas to focus at what time. Right, so at between 3 and 6 is the basketball court and the football court and the football. Those are the areas where they will be. So you need to find yourself there.
It makes no sense being where you're not going to be.
I'm telling you, you need to find yourself there. So we need to be more strategic in our patrols, not just go on patrol for patroling's sake, but looking at where is the area that needs the presence, and let's do that. So that should be automatic in your mind as a patrol officer. Let's pass by the field and check. Because we know there is Barons Drive and there is Palmis and there is,
all of these play and are involved
they're involved in sports. Right?
So if we can keep them on a calm way, start to play with each other more and start to realize that we only same team for football, so it's making sense for us to be in that bit. And that's what, let me tell you, 2023 Soufriere Black Hat team will forever be precious to me. Because that's what we brought. And by doing that, let me tell you, it made the police work 10 times easier.
A lot easy.
There was not a stabbing or a shooting for an extended period of time after that. After that, all of that was gone completely. You heard nothing of it. And I saw a few sparks of it coming back because there was no football running for at least a year or so now. And I saw some sparks of it. And I remember having that conversation with you, telling you, listen.
Yeah, we have to begin to
do something and start to make policemen. It was easier before because you had a lot of policemen who were involved in the sports.
And that's what I'm saying.
So they used to be around
on the field.
It used to help out. But now you don't have as many. You don't have police officers who are involved in sports like before. So those random patrols around these areas at this time, it helps because I have security at the stadium.
But we all know that.
I tell the security all the time, they are not security, they are watchmen. You watch what's happening so you can report. Don't play no security superhero and the boy with you.
I'm telling you.
You're not armed, you do not even pepper spray we give you or anything. And then to go on. So call me if you have kids. Generally, most of the kids, they adhere to what I say because most of them grew up knowing that I taught quite a bit of them through the years when I was at the district office. All of them I have coached in just about every single sport.
Mhm.
So generally, just a few who show a little disrespect and so on and so forth. And I can take really tough action against them. But I think
Yeah.
a lot of these kids are in need of the love and attention that they are not getting at home.
Yes.
And we have to provide it for them one way or the other.
Definitely.
And being the mighty hand who comes down
It's
on
not
them,
always about the whip. It's not
it's
always
not
about the
always
whip.
about the whip.
No, it's
Sometimes it has to be about the
Yeah,
whip.
sometimes you have to enforce it.
You have to
you know,
enforce
but
it.
it's not always. You have to
But
try your best to deal with it until you can no longer
some
do
of
it.
them I can tell you, and I've seen it. Like I tell you, most of our kids the better sportsmen come from homes who are not as fortunate as others. And I know it because I've been around it for a very long time and I see it. But I just feel like the police presence, especially during the peak hours of say 4 and 6:37,
Yeah.
random just
That's
come and sit and watch the fellas
yeah.
play for
And-
an hour or two. Now, if they know that the police are always going to do these random checks, I can tell you it will make a difference.
And that is an opportunity as a police officer to familiarize yourself with who is who.
Form some kind of relation with community
Yeah.
members.
Yes.
That if you need
Definitely.
assistance, if you need information on something, you just might be able to get it because they trust you. They
Yeah.
see you as one of them.
Yeah. Because and again, you make an important point. So if if for example you come to the ghetto area when things are hot as a police officer, you expect anybody to give you any information.
Anybody's not going to even
They're not,
want to
cause,
speak to you.
yeah, they're not gonna speak to you. But if you come on the field and you chill out with the fellas and you play a ball with them, that man might give you so much info because he's gathered down. He's more
He
relaxed.
understands that
Yeah.
you are not his enemy, he's not your enemy.
Yes.
And they reach out.
Yeah. So it is for us as police officers also to see how we can contribute, how we could work in partnership, with the young people and see how there could be that working relationship, information sharing, support in both ways. We have a few persons on the live who have said, Ms. Buffer Prosper, I said, good morning, Inspector, good morning, Ace, good morning, Buffer. I think Gloria Leon, morning to everyone, and she's watching in the US while on vacation. Good morning, Gloria Leon. We have Khadijan Murray, he said, good brother. Sheldon Lionel is saying good morning. Deviana Harris and big up Nehemiah. Ilana Lily St. Jean. Go, son, keep doing what you love best. Well, your mom is very proud. That's your mom, right? Yeah, she's very proud of you. And she said, good morning, Inspector. Sheldon Lionel is saying good job. Rena Butcher is saying it's always a team effort. Rasky Lewis Lenny, which is Keith Lewis, our classmate, he's saying good morning, Ace, good morning, Kim Roy. Good morning, Cooley Wise. And Gilbert Jules, the great boss, he's saying good morning, boss. Joella Yard is saying, okay, Julia is asking some very interesting question, which I will choose not to answer because this is not the subject of the show today. We're speaking about sports and crime, Julia. So I will pass on that. But she's asking how you expect kids to be better when the role models are not home to give them any form of directions. These kids are being raised by single mothers. Where are the fathers? And that is important.
You say you won't answer that now.
No, not that one. She was asking some other questions,
But this is the question she asked.
Yes.
This is the importance of sport. Because for a lot of those kids who come to the field for athletics club and football, I grew up, I know my father. I grew up with my father very much involved in my life.
Yep.
And my mom. And I remember all of us in the athletics club calling Fano Dada. All of us was calling him Dada. Everybody in the athletics club was calling Francis George Dada because
he played that role.
That's who he was to us.
Yes.
He was not our biological father, but that's who he was to us. So a lot of these kids who don't have those fathers at home and don't have that role model at home, they seek it somewhere else. And we don't want them to choose the wrong person who will lead them to the wrong place.
Let me tell you, is
to be the role model. So we have to provide that, whether it is through the police force or through the youth and sports and the coaches in the community.
I make it my duty that on sports day that I am there to support my kids, on that day. Because for me, your mere presence alone is a great motivator, when they've done something good and that you support and cheer them, that alone empowers a child, and it's important that fathers understand that you must be present in your child's life. There's nothing more important than a boy that his dad comes and support him and cheer him on the field. I remember my cricketing days, boy. There was, let me see, there was this young cricketer, and no matter where we went, he used to play for college. I think that was that Joachim Joseph? Which one of them? No matter where we went, his father was there to support him. And I was impressed with that, I was impressed because it just showed you how there was that relationship between him and his dad. And, the dad would guide him and tell him, hey, how you should, where he felt he went wrong, how he could improve, stuff like that. And, and that's a very important, Joella is asking that the fathers need to play extremely important roles, more important roles, be more present.
And there are fathers who play.
No, they are, yes.
Play their role. Huh?
No, I'm one. I'm one. So.
Take a break, brother. But it's not just fathers, and we keep on saying fathers. I can tell you, I've seen many situations with athletes and footballers that I have coached in the past, where the fathers are more involved than the mothers. Mm-hmm. So let's say parents are not just bash the fathers,
yes,
the fathers.
Yes, the fathers. Yes, the parents. Yes, the parents.
Sometimes the father is the level-headed one, while the mother is the one who family and look at.
I agree.
So we have to say parents. We know more often than not the fathers are the ones who are not involved as much as the one. And in some cases, we have to say the fathers cannot be involved because in many of those homes, the fathers are the breadwinner.
Yes, definitely.
So they're the ones who's at work while the mother has a little more time to go and show support and be there for these kids. Not because they are bad fathers, but because they are the breadwinners and they have to go and provide for his children.
Definitely.
This is where that's the importance.
The support system, yes.
And the coaches in the community.
Yes.
And the Gilroy Lamontines. That man is doing a wonderful job with where he's taken young people in football. Francis George, who has been, Francis coached me, Coach Janelle, Coach your sister, Lisa, just name it, just every Nessa Paul, just coach.
And that time, Soufriere was a powerhouse when it came to sports, huh? For track and field.
Oh, yes. And then I've seen him coach cricket, I've seen him referee, play, coach football, and now to be in a position where I revived this Brothers Club. Got us uniforms, got us track shoes, got us boots, and the same Francis George is right there next to me, helping with
so I hope we take the time out to give him his flowers while he's alive. While he's alive, what we
have passed a lot of people who have made a lot of contributions in this community. Michael Yatakazabo passed away, who never got his flowers. We used to give him a good bit of bashing. And now I'm an administrator myself. I take my fair share of bashing. Even if your heart is in the right place, it doesn't mean everybody's going to understand why you're doing and what you're doing.
Yes.
And they say, the stadium should be named after this and that and that.
Yeah, so we have a few more comments.
Francis George mini stadium that I am willing to support. I'm telling you because
his legacy is there. We have Clayton Elliot is saying great convo. Linda Jabat is saying good morning. Tabby Broom, a great show today. Keep doing a great job. You both. Good morning, Tabby. That's Tabby for Broom. If my memory serves me well. Good day to you. Jane Lascaris, good morning, everyone. Clayton Elliot is saying it's good to get the kids involved in sports early. And I agree. And Elitech used to be one of our top basketballers back in the days.
He was. I was not a basketballer, but I could have do something. These fellas used to Papi show me what he fought all the time. He and Ed and all these guys.
Oh, yes,
they were the basketballers at the
time. We have Deborah Joseph is saying kudos, very interesting program. And Eva Blake is saying there are no systems in place in this country, hence why men and women are vulnerable and are not able to guide a home in a positive way. So those are deep questions. Those are deep, again, the holistic development of our country, that's beyond me and you, but those are the kind of questions we need to begin to ask. What are the support systems in place, for the underprivileged, and how we could channel them, channel their energy in a positive way instead of calling for, draconian measures, jail them and send them life in jail and this and that, What are we doing to prevent them from going that direction in the first place? And I'm never an advocate for jail them, and I am not an advocate because that's too much of my tax money paint, feeding somebody who's supposed to be doing a positive contribution, making a point. You have him, yeah. So let us look at taking them away completely from the life of crime for violence, and let's put support system and mechanisms in place to build the community and build young men and women.
I remember with what you said there, briefly, I remember having a conversation with a young lady yesterday, and she's saying, we had athletics training yesterday, and she saw myself, Francis. There's a Cuban coach that is on the field now that we, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, we were able to get him to work with us with the Soufriere club. And she's saying, some of these athletes we have, they have great potential. And what support are they getting before they become great? We want to spend the money to celebrate them after they've done something great. Okay, they go Olympics, they win 2 gold medals, we want to throw a big party and do a big celebration. But what about investing some of that money before? And this is where I have to say kudos to the Chubetskoy family and Anchaste and Jade Mountain. I tell you, these people have understood what this community needs when it comes to youth and sports development and what they have to do. They might not be able to support in other ways, but you see, when it comes to supporting in terms of the financial aspect, when it comes to providing gears and financial support, and their principle is, if we're going to have an activity, we want to make it worthwhile. That these kids will think, I don't have to go and sit on the block to sell a 2 bag to make $1.
It's worth their while to come and play.
When you tell me you have a 5-a-side futsal tournament and the winning team gets $3,000.
I enjoyed that tournament. I could tell you that for sure. I enjoyed that.
When you tell me a 3-on-3 basketball game where they maybe play 3 or 4 games for the evening and the winning 3 leaves there with $1,000. Football. You have a basketball tournament, the Nick Chubetskoy Memorial Tournament that I organized. We're waiting. The Super team is now in the finals once again. They're playing game 2 this evening. So if they win game 2, they're the national champions back to back. And we started a Nick Chubetskoy Memorial Tournament, and the winning team gets $7,000.
Wow.
Sponsored by Anchaste, while the national tournament only gives $5,000 for the winning Island team. So we need to give Anchaste and Jade Mountain all.
Yeah. So with you saying that is, we have a number of other hotels in Soufriere. They have to begin to now, pull their weight too. I'm calling them out now. I'm calling them out now.
Some of them, I personally think some of them can do a lot more.
Yes.
A lot of people say they hear a lot from Anchaste and Jade Mountain, and they almost don't see what I am directly involved with every sport, every single sport. I am directly involved with all. And I can tell you the level of support Anchaste gives. Anchaste just gave $22,000 for inter-primary district sports.
Wow.
The first time ever the winning district got $10,000 sponsored by Anchaste.
So that's not been publicized because, I heard nothing about that
I try my best to put it on social media and so on and so forth. But I can tell you, these people, the amount of support they give just to ensure that these young people don't get involved in the crime and violence, just to ensure that they don't become delinquents to the community, which would affect the tourism dollar and affect everything.
Definitely.
They understand that, and I can tell you, Anchaste and Jade Mountain, Yasha Chubetskoy, my brother, big up yourself. I hope somebody passes the message. I don't know if you listen to 88.5, but I'm hoping somebody will pass on the message to you and your family, your mom, your wife. What you all are doing in this community, let me tell you, we will never get anybody or any hotel to do it.
We have a few more comments before we have gone way past our time, but we have a few more comments. Let me read them before we leave. Swaggy Vishalman is saying, big up Tifano Yati. Good vibes, keep up the good work. Jason Arsenal is in the stadium should definitely be named after the great T. Francis. We have Rena Butcher is saying it's a community effort, guys, because
Yeah.
where the parental presence is lacking, persons like you, Nehemiah, who recognize the talent that some of the youth possess, can channel the energy in something positive, and that is important. That we now, it's not about the parent alone raising the child, but the community raising the child, and that everybody
And
contributes.
I
But
still believe that it's the community because the kids that are in the Athletic Club, I can tell you, if ask anybody who's around me, ask anybody in the National Athletes Association. When I speak, I say those are my kids.
definitely,
Those are my kids. When they have a problem, I have a problem too. Don't interfere with my kids. That's how I look at them, and that's how it should be. And I bet you every Gilroy Lamontagne feels the same way with the kids that are on the field with him
definitely.
every Saturday and Sunday. So that's what it is. The community has to raise the child.
Coffee is always in good vibe. Good day, Coffee. Coffee used to be our classmate also. So it's we've gone way beyond our time, and you have to come back on this show because for me this is one of the most entertaining, energetic show that we've had. Any last words from you before we end the show today?
Again, I want to thank you, my classmate, Mr. Rene. I don't know if it's because we were classmates that I can reach out to you for anything and you would respond. But I can see the love and passion that you show for your job and wanting to see a peaceful Soufriere. And I commend you on that. Again, we need more help in the communities. We need the Athletic Club. We have just a few parents like Janelle who are always there to support us, and Nati. And we need more support. We have a small team when it comes to the Soufriere Club. With Tilia, myself, the Cuban. We need the support from the wider community, and we're begging for the support, not just for track and field, because we organize a lot more than just track and field. So we need the support. We need the entire community to get involved in providing those sporting activities. And I will end by again saying thank you so much to the Chubetskoy family and Yasha, especially Yasha Chubetskoy, who understands the importance of sports to this community and continue to be the backbone of sports in this community.
Definitely. And the importance, and again, it's the importance of sport to the success of his business, because a crime-free community is a successful, is one that will attract economic activity. Let me thank you, Ace, for joining us today. I gotta tell you, we will have you back here again, but let me call out the other hotel to in and around Soufriere. It is important that you guys contribute to the safety of Soufriere in whatever way that you can, support. Get in touch with Ace. Ace is right there. Get in touch with him. And when he does send this sponsorship request, at least, send a nice little check that will be able to, support the effort that he's putting in there. Let me thank each and everyone for joining us on yet again a fantastic and exciting and informative police forum, one where we discuss every police-related matter, where we educate and sensitize the public on police-related matters, and that at the end of the week, create an open door policy where you can interact with me, the inspector, and then I could try to answer your questions on concern. Again, I have an open door policy at my office. If there are any concerns, queries, anything you want to address, don't hesitate, come to my office, and I am happy to entertain and to discuss your concerns. Again, as a community, my mantra and my principle is the public is the police and the police is the public. The police is just the institution responsible for providing that level of security, but every single person has a responsibility to keep his or her community, his area safe. So if you see something, say something. If you hear something, if you know something will happen, don't hesitate to call my office and to provide that information so that we can provide that level of response to you. However, if you don't feel comfortable calling me, then we have the crime tip line, which is 555. It's a toll-free line where you could just call at no cost to you, and then you could share the information. You could also now share information anonymously via the crime tip line app, which you can download on iPhone or Android devices. Go to your Google Play, go to your different app sites and download that app and provide that information. And I guarantee you that it will be dealt with, and there will be, a response to your information. So once again, I thank you. And for those who, it's almost lunchtime, don't hesitate to go to Galba's Seafood Shack. Friday menu, we have mai, tuna, snapper, potfish, blackfish, fish head broth, grilled lambi, curry lambi, cream sauce lambi, and you should try the cream sauce lambi on this lambi soup for our guys, lambi fritters, and we have the sides, with the rice and the local juice. So everyone head out to Galbas today. It's along the cemetery road at Fort Beignet. Place your order early because I could tell you there is a high demand. So thank you for joining us and looking forward to yet another police forum next week, Friday, God willing, where we will have important topics on crime and information sharing. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic and safe weekend, everyone. Good day.
Community safety. We are pleased to announce the return of Police Forum on